Welcome to Paul's Heart. I'm Paul, author of the book Paul's Heart Life as a Dad and a 35-year cancer survivor, available on Amazon. In my last video, I talked about being ghosted while going through cancer. And that is as awful as it can get, almost. Because whereas when you're being ghosted, the people just disappear, there's actually a worse behavior than being ghosted. And that would be when you have someone in your life, and again, it could be, just as with ghosting, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, it could be a family member, denying what you're going through as being serious, gossiping about you, or even actively harassing you. These behaviors are all worse than being ghosted. At least with being ghosted, they're out of your life. Okay? But when you have people in your life, and again, these can be current friends. If you're in a coworker environment, there's nothing you can do to escape that. And of course, if you're dealing with a family member or spouse, when you're actively being attacked, such as, it's no big, they're making a bigger deal than what it is that they're going through. They're fine. As a patient and a survivor, we know if we're fine or not. And if we're not fine, all we're asking for is not to make it worse. And yet, many people will. And why is that? Okay? Those who aren't involved with our care, with our treatment regimen, with our process, okay, they don't know. And what people don't know, they make up. Okay? Honestly, everybody outside of your circle, think about it. They'd easily be overwhelmed if they knew everything that we were facing. Okay? They could have their own personal quirks as far as, relationships. Okay? They could have ulterior motives. You'd no longer fit what they need, or your diagnosis, your illness is an inconvenience to them. And it's a way of gaining attention, taking attention away from you that they once had. Sure, you could give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was possibly a misunderstanding, or any other kind of external factors. I know when I worked, I had several coworkers who felt that I was getting extra special treatment. I didn't. Okay, what I did during my diagnosis and treatment is I didn't miss any work that wasn't covered by personal time off. I showed up for work. That's it. I wasn't given any special favors, but there were people who thought that I did, and they spread rumors about that. And it made things very difficult. And when I talk about anybody in your life, I'm not just talking coworkers. It can be friends. They're tired of hearing you talk about, the doom and gloom of cancer. They'll say things like they look fine. They're doing things that they normally do. Yeah, a cancer patient will do that. Why? Because it makes us feel like there's still a part of normal about us. Being able to go for a walk, being able to go see a movie, go enjoy a concert. When we have those opportunities to do something normal. But it doesn't mean that we're not dealing with something serious. And unfortunately, there are people that will twist that around to make us look like we're milking attention. And I know, I'm fairly confident I can speak for most people watching this video. There's not one of us that wants extra attention just because we had cancer. But what happens when it hits as close to home as possible, such as family members? Now, in all honesty, when I was going through my Hodgkin's lymphoma 38 years ago, my family dynamic was a bit off in that we didn't talk about our feelings. We didn't talk about our emotions. Therefore, we didn't really talk. But when I got diagnosed with cancer, all of a sudden it opened up these floodgates of everybody wanting to give me attention that I wasn't used to and I didn't want. I was also dealing with my coworkers, as I've mentioned, who felt I was getting special attention. But when it came to my active treatment, I didn't give anybody the chance to take away anything from me, any focus that I needed put on me to get through my treatments. Because it was all about me. That's the one time you have to be selfish. It's if you're going through cancer treatments, it's all about you. You can't worry about what other people think. Now, if you're an older adult and you happen to be in a serious relationship or a spouse, that can get even more complicated and more painful. I relate of a story. I deal with late side effects from the treatments 38 years ago. And one of the first things that happened to me was I needed emergency heart surgery. And it was an emergency bypass. And there was a very good chance that I was not going to survive this surgery. I didn't know much more about it because when they diagnosed it, I was still under anesthesia and they were rushing to get this done because I was very quickly on my way out. So there wasn't a lot for me to prepare for because I wasn't aware of a lot of things. However, when I woke up, I was in the intensive care unit. I kind of could recognize that. I couldn't speak because I had a breathing tube in. I could see that I was connected to all kinds of machines and tubes and wires and stuff like that. And yeah, I was scared because I had no idea what happened to me. I think that I had my chest opened up. I remember some conversation about open heart surgery, but that's it. And clearly I was still alive from what I could gather. There was only one person in the room with me. That was my nurse, not my wife. She chose, because nothing for her to do, to attend a party with her family. She didn't feel there was a need for her to be there. I needed somebody there to let me know that I was going to be okay, not to be afraid that I had made it. And even after I was discharged from the hospital, when we would talk about this situation, it was still no big deal to her. My own sister, same thing. Dismissed all of the late-term side effects that I deal with, and I have many. I talk about them in my videos. They get dismissed because I look good. And when you see me in public, I don't generally let people on to know when something is not feeling right in me. If my heart is feeling wonky, if my brain is a little foggier, if my back is more stiff, or anything else that I'm dealing with, I try not to let other people know. But when they do find out, they usually turn around and say, it's no big deal. He's just making more of it than what it is. No, I'm not. So the thing is, there's only one way to deal with this type of behavior by others. And that's to realize that it is not your problem. It's theirs. Let it be their problem. You have enough to deal with. Your issues are legit, and you don't need this behavior in your life. Until then, this is Paul's Heart.